us today. Of course, we know that any electoral processes which have to be conducted anywhere in the world, whether it's in the first world, third world, we know that conducting an election is not a child's play. It's a very serious business. And therefore, the APC party, I've always been treating that aspect very seriously, and the leadership of this party, Hard Biara, Dr. Salone Kamara, has always treated this election cycle very seriously. And the people of Sierra Leone also, I believe that you've also treated this election process very seriously. For the past few months, when we started this election cycle, we've had serious attacks on our members from the various reported matter to the police, and the police have not been able to act accordingly. And in most instances, they have collaborated with the ruling government to attack, intimidate, and detain. We also know that the Electoral Commission is not. We also know, please let us be quiet. We also know that the ECSL, they should be the arbiter, the umpire of this election. And therefore, the leader of the party will be making a very firm statement today to show to the people of this country and to show our membership that the APC wants a free, fair, non-violent and credible election. What the APC is not prepared to do is to have an election that is skewed, that has been that's a premeditated control of the election, an election that has been rigged from day one, an election that we know that the electorate is not serious enough to have a free, fair, credible, and non-violent election. And in that regard, I will cure patient, because you've always been since this morning when some of you started you started coming early than the expected time. We want you all to be patient, and also please listen what the leadership of the party, Salone Kamara, say, because it's very, very vital. We don't want to leave this place and you do not know exactly what is the message that we have here today for you. So in that regard, I want to welcome you and thank you, and say that the leadership is now ready to address you. But before that, I will hand you over to Mr. Tunis, who will give you one more personality to speak on the leadership address you. I want to thank you all.
Thank you very much. That is our National Secretary General, Lancelot Doumbouya ESQ. It is now time to briefly hear the National Chairman of the party, Alhaji Minkailu Mansari.
Your Excellencies, Deputy National Chairman of the All People's Congress Party, the National Secretary, and all other officers of the party, members of the Fourth Estate, ladies and gentlemen. Our nation is at a crossroad. Next Saturday is the date slated for the conduct of the presidential, general, and local council elections. The importance and timeliness of this press conference cannot be overemphasized. Election is a process that commences from the registration of voters to the announcement and verification and even certification of results. That is what we are expecting from the ECSL. Since the commencement of this process, the All People's Congress, APC, being the biggest and most populous opposition party in these elections, has on several occasions registered its dissatisfaction with the process as ruled out by the Electoral Commission for Salone, including the promulgation of new election laws few months before the elections, the introduction of the proportional representation district system, and this proportionate distribution of seats per districts, the shortened period for the registration of voters, and the disenfranchisement of thousands of eligible voters in our strongholds, the quality and security of voter cards, the publication of the voter register as described in the Public Elections Act 2022, the procurement process and audit of the collation of tallying software, and collation procedures to be used by the ECSL amongst several others. We have written several times to the ECSL, making demands, most of which have not been addressed. Our national leader will espouse on these our concerns and demands and state our party's position on these matters. Holding a free, fair, transparent, and credible elections are prerequisites for the continuation of the peace of our country, and we hereby remind the Chief Electoral Commissioner that the peace of this country lies squarely in his hands. As a party, we will accept nothing short of a free, fair, credible, and transparent elections. We consider the process, if well carried out, as a vertebra in the physiognomy of the economy and political system, particularly the democracy of Salone. By the end of this meeting, Sierra-Leoneans will fully understand why the APC has summoned this meeting and why we take a definite position this afternoon. As a political party, we are comforted by the mammoth support we have in the country. As a political party, we are encouraged by the support we have nationwide, but we will not sacrifice that support in the interest of a system that will not allow democracy to thrive in this country. With this short statement, I want to encourage all of us to listen with rapt attention, take note, especially the journalists, so that we'll be in a position to analyze what our leader and presidential candidate will have to say this afternoon. I thank you.
Thank you very much. That was the National Chairman, Alhaji Kailu Mansari. Good afternoon again, ladies and gentlemen. As you have heard from the two speakers, the message is consistent, and the message from the APC, from the leadership, has always been consistent. And that is, we want free, fair, credible, all-inclusive and peaceful elections. Nothing short of that. That has been our message. That will continue to be our message. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, let me take this opportunity to recognize members of the National Advisory Committee present here today, the spouses of our presidential candidate and the running mate, Mrs. Elizabeth Massa Rogers and Mrs. Howard Barr, respectively. Mrs. Elizabeth Massa Rogers Kamara. Former ministers, members of the National Executive, Regional Executive, District Executive, comrades, all members of the international community, members of the Fourth Estate. I know we are all yearning to hear from Dr. Samura Matthew Wilson Kamara. I do not need to bore you. The international community includes elections observed on mission. All recognized. Thank you very much. I believe we have some here. I do not need to name them. With our performance in governance from 2007 to 2017, and with the conditions we find ourselves in now as a nation, I have no doubt on my mind that with free, fair, Thank you, everybody. Welcome, and thank you for coming. For sparing your time. Pay small attention at you. Why I don't Your Excellency, members of the Fourth Estate, fellow Salonians, I crave your indulgence, patience, and your understanding for me to provide you with an exceptionally long and detailed address on the APC's grave concerns over Mr. Mohammed Kone of ECSL and our security forces' efforts in undermining electoral integrity on June 24, 2023. and the potential. On the 24th of June 2023, Sierra Leone is scheduled to hold its fifth democratic elections during our post-conflict period. These elections are extremely important to everyone in Sierra Leone. They are about bringing in a new era and allowing the people of Sierra Leone, both at home and abroad, to make their democratic choices of presidential, parliamentary, and local government leadership. These elections on the 24th of June 2023 are about us, politicians, giving democratic space, peace, and security to those making these choices, tribal or regional affiliations, gender or religion. They are about giving the people of Sierra Leone an ample opportunity to choose between two clearly opposing systems of governance to date. First, it is the system which we have experienced over the last 5 years, and which is characterized by various documented human rights abuses, stifling of opposition voices, a shrinking of the people's democratic space, open tribal divide, regional marginalization, and widespread, unprovoked, unexplained, and uninvestigated political violence. This situation has led to mass killings, molestation, harassment, and police brutality against the citizenry across the country. It is a system that has woefully failed the people economically, socially, and politically. The second system is one that gave way to the leadership of the first system, with which every Sierra Leonean is now tired of, and is therefore ready to pay the ultimate price, provide their resources and energy for a big bang change back to the second system. This second system has a positive and envied track record of a strong focus on national development, on improving the lives and livelihoods of all Sierra Leoneans without looking for tribe or region, on respecting human rights and the rule of law, and on ensuring that every Sierra Leonean is protected and secure. Thus, in 2018, it was this second system that allowed a smooth democratic transfer of power to the first system, whose leader we don't want to let go now, much against the will of the people. I know you've all been eagerly waiting to hear from me. It has been a very hectic few weeks, but I thank God for supernatural strength and favor. What God cannot do. Fellow Sierra Leoneans, it has been a tough 5 years for all of us. The young, the old, the women, the traders and their businesses, the transporters, the teachers and the students, the judges and the lawyers, the doctors and the nurses. A tough 5 years for all of us, including police, military officers. A tough 5 years for all of us, whether you are in Timni, you are Meli, you are in Fula or Yalunka, whether you are in Guranko or Limba, or whether you are in Susu or Creole, or whether you are Loco or any other tribe. It has been a tough 5 years for all of us.
Yes.
The misery and suffering we have endured in the last 5 years, no boundaries. They have pushed us too far. Enough.
It's enough. Oh yes! Oh yes! Oh yes! Message.
Fellow Sierra Leone, members of the fourth estate, distinguished guests here present. The ballot box should be the answer to the people's choice. But as we can all see from the action so far of the Electoral Commission of Sierra Leone, it is obvious that they have something else up their sleeves. Our APC campaign in particular has been one of intimidation, molestation, embarrassment, brutality, and stress from the Sierra Leone police and military of our supporters, especially in the southeast. But guess what? God has seen us through it all. And He will continue the work He has started to the well-deserved end for us all. As is common knowledge, the military and the police are meant to serve and protect the people. And they must in no way be politically biased. But we are seeing otherwise. The people of Sierra Leone are sending a message, as they have tried to do in many occasions, but have been cast aside like trash. Out of the millions of ID cards, I have seen 90% are so badly printed. No one has been brought to justice for such an injustice to the people of Sierra Leone. The people are asking, why has nothing been done about it? Why has ECSL and Mr. Connie chosen to ignore all correspondences sent to them? Mr. Connie has chosen to ignore all correspondences. Maybe it's orders from above. We will not accept ballot boxes loaned embarrassingly from our neighboring country. Loan embarrassingly from foreign countries. Why can't we procure from our own resources or from donor support new sealed boxes? I am assuring all Sierra Leoneans that I will do everything in my power as president of this country to ensure and improve life for all. So, please stick with me and by me, and you will see the difference as the second system, which we all knew and benefited from 2023,
In God, we are one people and one nation. Streets neither must they be second term for President Julius Maada Bio. They are about building a better future for Sierra Leone and about who can best secure and deliver this future. Now, it is with a sense of utmost urgency and deep concern that I am addressing you here regarding the loss of integrity of the electoral processes in Sierra Leone and the dangers it poses to the unity, peace, democracy, and stability of Sierra Leone. As you may recall, over the past 5 years, the APC, along with other members in the consortium of progressive political parties, COP, has diligently communicated with you and our esteemed international partners about the unfolding undemocratic and unconstitutional developments in our nation under President Bio's power regime. Today, however, as leader and presidential candidate of the All People's Congress Party for the forthcoming June 24 presidential, parliamentary, and local government elections, I find myself compelled, on behalf of the party and of you all, to emphasize the gravity of the flaws in the ongoing electoral processes and the potentially far-reaching consequences that loom ominously on the horizon. I've painfully characterized the critical issues across 6 broad themes and remain obliged to discuss them in future detail at some other opportune time. First, constituting the ECSR and management of their operations. Mr. Mohamed Kone was appointed chairman of the Electoral Commission for Sierra Leone in a manner that epitomizes the Sierra Leone People's Party government's flagrant disrespect for the rule of law and its underlying intent to undermine the integrity of the 2023 elections. Based on the provisions made in Chapter 9 of the Constitution of Sierra Leone, specifically on the appointment of the Electoral Commissioner, the APC strongly protested Mr. Kone's appointment. This was communicated to the President on the 16th. Specifically, the APC contended with the following aspects related to his appointment: the consultation and appointment. Mr. Kone was imposed as the head of the commission without due consultation with leaders of other political parties stipulated at the 1991 Constitution of Sierra Leone. The President merely informed the leaders of opposition parties of his decision. Despite the APC's appeals to reconsider this appointment, the President unilaterally forged ahead, dismissing our concerns. Second, the qualifications of Mr. Kone. According to Section 32(4) A and B of the 1991 Constitution of Sierra Leone, a person shall not be qualified for an appointment as a member of the Electoral Commission if he or she is not qualified to be elected as a member of Parliament, or the person should not be a public official, as in minister, deputy minister, member of Parliament, or public officer. Mohamed Kone was the Director General of the Financial Intelligence Unit, a presidential appointment and not a promotion based on a distinguished public service background. He was appointed at the time disappointments when he was still chairman and head of FIU. The expected independence of Mr. Kone. The Electoral Commissioner is expected to exercise his functions independently and impartially. Since assuming the position of chairman, Mr. Kone has pursued a troubling policy of ethnicization, an arrogant and heavy-handed management move within the Electoral Commission. He has systematically replaced experienced staff with purported managers, technology focal persons, graphic designers, and estate engineers were all failed. The recruitment was shrouded in such secrecy that existing employees of the commission who wished to apply for those positions were asked to resign entirely. Consequently, no existing ECSL staff, some of them with over 10 years of experience and postgraduate degrees, was shortlisted for course across, has also severely compromised his schedule. His responsibilities primarily serves the Brook administration's pursuit of an act. It's an alarming indication of the imminent electoral manipulation that looms ahead. The APC significant efforts to engage Mr. Kone constructively, but he has shown those efforts and has continued the manipulation of the electoral processes against the principle of ensuring free and fair elections. Second, the manipulation of the legal framework for electoral governance and management in Sierra Leone. Ladies and gentlemen, the party objective has been pursued through blatant trickery with the electoral and disregarding the plethora of recommendations put forward by international and national observer missions following the 2018 elections. It was intended for those recommendations to address the structural and contextual challenges that marred these elections and fortify the electoral regime for the upcoming 2023 elections. Beyond the blatant disregard for those recommendations, the SLPP government has forced through several pieces of legislation less than a year before the 2023 elections, namely the Political Parties Regulation Commission Act 2022, the Local Government Act 2022, the Public Election Act 2022, the Proportional Representation Regulations and Equality and Women's Act 2022. The APC welcomes the progressive provisions in some of these legislations, such as those geared towards promoting the participation of women in the political and other decision-making spaces, and the efficiency of the country's electoral dispute resolution process. However, we condemn and continue to condemn provisions that have skewed the electoral framework in favor of the SLPP. In the grand scheme and design of ongoing elections manipulation and voter disenfranchisement plans. Furthermore, the abrupt change from the first past the post system to the proportional representation system signifies a calculated strategy by the ruling party to undermine electoral integrity and set the stage for potential political instability. The conditions necessary for the PR electoral system were never fully built. It may be recalled that the APC's fight against legislation detrimental to current and future generations had been made extremely difficult since the illegitimate and forceful removal of 10 APC elected members of parliament in May 2019 by the SNPP caused the APC to lose its majority in parliament. Third, laying the foundation for rigged elections via a deliberately flawed census. In July 2020, the SNPP government commenced the process of conducting a new census, dubbed the midterm census. A census that can only be described as untimely and totally unnecessary. This flawed census, lacking any legal basis, was orchestrated with the explicit intention of sowing chaos and facilitating electoral manipulation. The result showed an extraordinary rise in population in SNPP strongholds, in gross alignment with objective and scientific population growth projections. Other prior complementary data collection exercises, such as the annual school census and the Freetown City Council property rate database and socio-economic migration patterns. In fact, in a period of unprecedented rural to urban migration, according to the midterm census, urban Freetown lost over 40% of its population. The credibility deficits were also unequivocally exposed by both local and international actors. For example, the World Bank and the European Union discredited the technical quality of the midterm census process, and subsequently published manipulated figures and statistics Sierra Leone provide wrong alignment. Moreover, the utilization of this flawed census data for electoral boundary delimitation has resulted in the ad hoc allocation of seats that undeniably favor ruling party strongholds. Additionally, the distribution of voter registration centers based on discredited midterm census data is deeply troubling, as it fails to present an accurate reflection of the actual population dynamics of Salone. This deliberate distribution of voter registration centers clearly aims to suppress registration and turnout in the Northwest region in a bid to justify the flawed midterm census data and disenfranchise thousands of voters. The fourth concern, the manipulation of the electoral data. In recent months, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the measures undertaken by the ECSL have intensified our concerns regarding the integrity of the electoral process. The production of blood and substandard voter identity cards, the repeated failure to meet deadlines for submitting credible voter registration data, and the subsequent release of highly questionable data that raised serious doubts about the Commission's commitment to conducting free and fair elections. With the corrupt, non-transparent, and politically non-inclusive nature of the procurement processes by the ECSL, it is crucial for us, including your objective development partners of Sierra Leone, to note that APC believes that these actions of ECSL are setting the stage for the rigging of elections. The impact of this procurement and distribution of blood and poor quality of the voter ID cards is unfathomable. It is worth noting that the ECSL has missed all legal deadlines to submit credible and correct data of registered voters as provided by the law. The APC complained for several weeks, but our complaints went unheeded. In the end, the Commission released incomplete and highly unquestionable data less than a month to the elections. Our thorough assessment has revealed numerous irregularities within the data, such as including diseased individuals and non-existent names, and exclusion of granular voting center or polling station details per voter. Furthermore, our assessment found the use of a practice known as net drag, which resulted in the ECSL shifting up voter names from the northwest to the south, an apparent endeavor to meet the SLPP's projected electoral outcomes. Added to these are prior anomalies relating to voter registration, voter application, and collection of voter cards. On voter verification and registration process, the Electoral Commission for Salone conducted what it called a voter verification registration for the 2023 multi-tier elections. The registration exercise, which was conducted from 10 September to 4th of October 2022 and extended by 2 days, was meant for citizens who have already registered and voted in previous elections to confirm their biometrics, review their personal information, and make corrections or inclusions when necessary. At the same time, it was also to register those who had not been registered previously. But again, the voter verification and registration process was characterized by numerous structural hiccups and was flawed from the start. In respect of first-time voters, the ECSL violated its own rules and legal provisions on the eligibility identification criteria relating to this process. But 44 stipulates that citizens are eligible to register either with a birth certificate or a naturalization certificate, a statutory declaration giving particulars of his birth, or the testimony of a member of the local council in the area of residence, the national identification number, or E, any other satisfactory evidence of entitlement to be registered as a voter. These provisions, ladies and gentlemen, were all blatantly ignored. And in addition, while ECL did not allow first-time voters to register, they failed to issue rejection forms to these citizens. There were widespread and varied reports of first-time voters, especially in Freetown, being turned away from registering to vote. On the voter exhibition and verification exercise, ECSL subsequently conducted a staggering 5-day exhibition and verification exercise between 24th November and 28th November, in respect of which there was minimal public sensitization. Consequently, the turnout of registrants for verification is understandably so very low. For those who did visit registration centers for verification, there are many reports of missing data,
Significantly, in spite of the prevalence of missing data, many registration centers do not have the inclusion forms that are to be completed for those registrants whose data do not appear during the verification process. On the voter ID collections exercise and results, ECSL conducted a voter ID card collection exercise from the 7th to the 16th of April. Registered voters were to collect their voter cards from the centers where they registered. The voter ID cards issued were of such extreme poor quality that the images on most of them are practically unidentifiable. Such a situation would no longer further undermine integrity, fairness, and inclusiveness of the 2024 polls. We hold this view because the difficulty in identifying the real holders of the voter ID cards would become a barrier to voting, which could increase the risk of electoral fraud. This is apart from the fact that there were irregularities with the procurement processes for the voter ID cards, in addition to the fact that our party was excluded in participating in the process, and we are not furnished with the details relating to who printed the cards, how many cards were printed, where they were printed, when they arrived in Sierra Leone, how and who received them, and so on. As of 17th April, according to the ECSL press release, approximately 2.6 million voter ID cards, representing 77% of those issued, have been collected, with 9,601 cards misplaced, 5,205 without photos, and 502 mismatched. We are yet to be informed on the current status of these cards. These actions not only give rise to deep apprehension, but also holds the potential to subvert the peace, security, and stability of our nation. As such, anomalies are bound to incite public discontent. Fifth concern, the rapid erosion of confidence and trust in the judiciary, parliament, audit service, and the Anti-Corruption Commission. It is the belief of the general public and the APC party that the judiciary and other accountability and transparency fiduciary institutions such as Parliament, Audit Sierra Leone, and the Anti-Corruption Commission have all demonstrated no attempt to regain the confidence and trust of the public, which they have lost in the last 5 years under this brutal and illegal government. The willingness of the leadership of the judiciary, as well as other accountability and transparency institutions, in particular the ACC and Audit Service and Parliament and several civil society organizations, to be instrumentalized by this powerful government, not only represents the most significant erosion of our democratic achievements in the last 20 years, but poses the most imminent threat to peace and stability during this election period. Our sixth concern, state-sponsored and orchestrated intimidation and violence against voters. The ruling party continues implementing its policy of violence and intimidation of opposition voices and activists across the country. These have been publicly obvious with direct attacks on APC supporters and members across the country, with the most recent incident occurring during an assault on my campaign in Kono, the fourth such incident in a month. Regrettably, our personal security and the safety of our supporters can no longer be entrusted to the state security apparatus. Senior officials of the powerful government machinery have repeatedly made inflammatory pronouncements, creating an atmosphere of intimidation and violence. The authorities have openly ignored flagrant human rights violations committed by ruling party agents and their hired thugs who operate with impunity in SLPP strongholds. On a daily basis, these thugs obstruct our supporters from displaying campaign materials and engaging in lawful political activities designated for the APC. Furthermore, harassment, including the throwing of acid and physical assaults on our female candidates and supporters, has been reported in both in Brook, in Falaba, in the western area. There have been incidents clearly shown on social media where women have been beaten, stripped naked across the country to the conspicuous silence of the security agencies and government authorities. These despicable acts do not only expose deep-rooted contempt for women and youth within the ruling party, but also target women and youth who have openly displayed strong support and sympathies for the APC against the SLPP because of the continued misery and sharp deterioration in their lives and livelihoods. We are in no doubt that this is part of a wider strategy to frustrate and undermine the participation of the women and youth, whom they have found to have a strong sympathy for and deep faith in the APC for redeeming and saving Sierra Leone from falling into deeper economic, social, and political collapse. It is imperative to highlight the highly improbable, improper, and militarized approach adopted by this government towards human rights and the rule of law. The police force, instead of upholding justice, has become an instrument of oppression. With a bellicose and trigger-happy posture, we readily resort to shooting and violence against the defenseless populace, even without provocation. This heavy-handed approach has effectively silenced the voices of civil society. It has hindered women and the youth participation and has severely undermined the public confidence in safety and security during upcoming elections. Equally alarming is the escalating endeavor to weaponize ethnicity within the ruling party's strongholds. Youth and former Kamajok ex-combatants have been openly mobilized to instigate attacks on opposition supporters and individuals from other ethnic groups residing in the southeast. Some of these groups have openly declared their loyalties and localities as no-go areas for APC campaign teams. The SNP government has made no effort to conceal its intolerance and therefore its plans to unleash brutality upon those who oppose them and wish to cast their votes against their regime. Over the past 6 months, it has openly undertaken an extensive procurement of arms for the military and security forces. The ostentatious delivery of these weapons and ammunition, often in the public view, has raised concerns among the citizenry who question whether Sierra Leone is on the verge of war or is actively preparing for war. The APC holds deep concerns that these weapons and ammunition may have been dispersed throughout the country and may be distributed to rogue elements of society within the government. Alongside this worrisome trend, the military has been placed on high alert, intensifying apprehension. In the last 5 years, the presence of the police and the military in the streets and roads everywhere in the country has progressively intensified. More than ever before, making Sierra Leone a police state. The ruling party's continued plot to rig the elections is now becoming increasingly evident. An opposition to this calculated scheme is swiftly deemed a threat to national security by the SLPP and their agents, resulting in the arbitrary arrest and detention of opposition members with trial. Disturbingly, we have received intelligence that this strategy will be fully implemented on election day, reinforced by an impending nationwide internet shutdown and an unconstitutional declaration of a state of emergency. It has become evident, ladies and gentlemen, in the last 5 years, that the attitude of the current president to governance is militarized and characterized by the ethno-regionalization of politics and power and the imposition of his will on the people. For instance, through the illegal appointment of a Speaker of Parliament and the head of ECSL, the sacking of the Auditor General, etc. Trapped by a militant ethnic cabal known as Power, and an overbearing wife who continues to display a naked animosity for opponents of the regime. It is without gainsaying that President Bio has lost the ability to govern and lead Sierra Leone.
Of course. Oh yes, oh yes.
Indeed, I repeat, he has lost the ability to lead and to govern. And the country is no longer a safe house, especially as we approach June 24, 2023 elections. The people of Sierra Leone, I want you to hear this. The people of Sierra Leone voted a husband as president of the Republic of Sierra Leone. They did not vote to wife. Alarming as these trends may be, it is crucial to emphasize the following. One, that the APC has consistently been patient and restrained, even though provoked on several occasions and even labeled as terrorists by President Bio. We did not react. We have consistently exercised restraint, choosing peace over provocations and oppression. 3, we emphatically state that the All People's Congress Party remains fully committed to upholding peace, security, and stability in our country, and look forward to delivering on all the commitments we have made in our One Nation Manifesto. We especially call upon the SLPP and all other stakeholders to demonstrate the same unwavering commitment to consistently choose peace over provocation and oppression. We further call upon President Bio and all other political stakeholders to strictly adhere to the recently signed peace declaration for ensuring free, fair, and non-violent presidential and general elections on June 24, 2023. However, The gravity of these developments, as outlined above, also demands the immediate attention and intervention of the international community, particularly the International Criminal Court, to safeguard democratic processes and prevent the relapse of Sierra Leone into conflict once more, as planned by this SLPP government. As a nation, we have sacrificed significantly to maintain the hard-earned peace we have enjoyed since 2002 when we signed the peace accord. Any attempt to reverse these gains must be firmly addressed and resisted, and all must be done to ensure free and fair elections. In considering the above, under my leadership, that the APC demands the following.
I don't want you. I don't
Oh
want you.
yes, oh yes.
Considering the law, under my leadership,
Yes, say what they do.
must be conducted transparently through manual and not electronic. Two, that the tallying of votes must be conducted transparently through manual and not electronic processes. The presence of party agents and local and international observers. Three, that the APC be provided with the ECSL data management structure and proposed tallying system and protocols for the 2024 June 2023 elections, in order to aid our appreciation of how the ECSL will be managing the electoral data, how the data are going to be processed, and how the results are going to be tallied and announced. Next, that in the interest of transparency and integrity of results, particularly in light of the tremendous mistrust created by ECSL's actions and inaction so far, the results are transmitted manually, and that the political parties are granted full and unfettered access and secure participation in the manual transmission of election results at all levels.
No electronic transmission. No answer.
That the ECSL should immediately release the disaggregated and comprehensive final voter registration.
Yes, sir.
Detailing the center names, the votes, districts, the voter names, the ages, the addresses, citizens, identifiable photos and fingerprints and signatures. That an independent technical forensic audit of the voter register be conducted immediately to ascertain the veracity of the ages and identities of voters. This exercise must be done with the participation of representatives of political parties, regional and continental and other international partners. This is informed by our analysis of the data in the journals used for the collection of voter ID, which shows thousands of underage voters, thousands more of first-time voters indiscriminately at their date of birth. In the said journals are over 200 years old. These several anomalies, some of them too basic, absolutely undermine not just the integrity of the final voters' register, the capacity of ECSL to conduct the June elections, owing to the fact that quality to conduct free, fair, credible, inclusive, and acceptable elections. That, as part of the process of restoring trust in the electoral process and to ascertain the integrity of the results, the usual support of independent technical assistance from our international partners, including the United Nations National Electoral Commission, must facilitate the unhindered access and presence of universally party agents and local and nationwide. The government of the security forces commit to protect ourselves. Any loss of life must be subjected to a thorough judicial investigation. Internationally recognized electoral of shutdown of the internet and all declarations of emergency population will neither be credible nor accepted.
Of course.
Ladies and gentlemen, voter register and how ECSL repeatedly made commitment to doing so, appealing for political parties and the public to allow them some time to sanitize the register. After an unprecedented delay last week, you all are further witnesses to the embarrassing, just within hours of ECSL's official release of that data to political parties. They shocked everyone and the world by recalling the final voter registration, which they have spent an inordinate amount of time on the basis that they submitted to the political parties. What was submitted was a wrong copy. If an electoral commission, with all its multitude, technical, professional staffs, could not discern the appropriate copy of such a sensitive and highly critical document from garbage before sharing with election shareholders, how would anyone trust their capacity and ability and genuinity to effectively run credible elections? State capture of the ECSL makes it worrying that this institution no longer has the free will to conduct elections in a free, fair, and transparent manner. The government has ensured that all the commissioners are sympathetic to the ruling party, and they themselves have confirmed this suspicion by their actions and statements. A few months ago, there was a leaked audio circulating on social media of the Electoral Commissioner Salone, Mr. Edmund Alpha, condemning the international community for their push for transparency in the electoral process and suggesting that they were trying to implement a regime change agenda. More recently, the senior management of the ECSL were seen posing for a picture with the SLPP's re-election campaign post. Within the sub-region, Salone remains one of the last beacons of democracy. In the last 5 years, the SLPP has been deliberate about democratic reversal. And the signs are now very clear that they seem all set to kill and bury our hard-won democracy under the guise of discipline and the rule of law. President Bio and the SLPP should know that the APC, which is a grassroots party and therefore a Congress party of all Sierra Leoneans, stands ready to gallantly and unapologetically defend our democracy by every legal and democratic means. The failure by President Bio and his SLPP-led government to heed to the aforementioned considerations before the elections on 24th of June 2023 will leave the APC with no option but to conclude that the SLPP's intention goal and primary objective is not to conduct free, fair, and non-violent, credible elections. Accordingly, the APC will therefore demand that Mr. Mohammed Khan and all electoral commissioners resign from office. Government to lead to the aforementioned considerations before the elections on the 24th of June 2023. We leave the APC with no option but to conclude that our main objective is not to conduct free, fair, non-violent, and credible elections. Therefore, accordingly, the APC will demand that Mr. Mohammed Khan and all electoral commission resign. Okay, thank you. Thank you. We, the APC, are demanding board resignation, electoral commissioner, chief electoral counsel, to be replaced by an independent, internationally accredited team of electoral commissioners and experts who will conduct fresh electoral processes. To date, ECSL has demonstrated unprecedented lack of transparency, inclusiveness, and accountability. Several of ECSL's actions and inactions relating to the management of the electoral processes have irreparably ripped apart its integrity, its independence, and public trust in its capacity to conduct free, inclusive, and credible elections, whose outcome can be acceptable to the citizens of the country. These demands are timeline. These demands are timeline.
Sir!
Yeah, back. I'll call you back. I'll call you back. I did a press conference. I'll call you back.
These demands have a time dimension, which is within the next 72 hours. In the strongest possible time, I wish to reiterate malpractice or any attempt to subvert the integrity of the electoral process, it is crucial that the international community that the international community, they are present and without the genuine will of the voters. And so we implore all Sierra Leoneans, election observers, civil society organizations, and the entire international community to join the APC in condemning any acts of election rigging and to support efforts to safeguard the integrity of the electoral process. The people of Sierra Leone deserve nothing less than a free, fair, and non-violent and credible election that accurately reflects their choices and aspirations for a robust, democratic, and prosperous Sierra Leone. Meanwhile, I want to call on the people of Sierra Leone. Meanwhile, I want to call on all Sierra Leoneans to come out and vote on the 24th. Come rain, come sunshine, come the